Just is what she is.
Thank you so much for having me.
We love you all. Happy Mother's Day. Spiritually next week.
Happy Mother's Day.
Should we start the show with Mother from John Lennon? Mother, you left me, but I never left you.
You still got some chops, son. Seriously.
Yeah, but you notice I didn't go to the next one. Which
I'll
is
leave it at that.
real close to falsetto. I recorded myself doing that song with my out-of-tune piano and a drum machine on an old cassette 4-track.
Oh my God,
those?
yes, Tascam.
Yeah,
I've had one of
4-track
those. Who didn't?
Right? And with a ton of echo, and I had to tune everything to that piano because it was so bad. It was like 1.5 out. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like none of these notes seem to make sense here.
Many pianos have led long and colorful lives.
Yeah.
The journey across the Midwest on that wagon.
Yeah, I tell you, I actually bought that thing. It was just a little upright, and I bought that new in 1981, and I had to.
Due for a tuning, sir.
Yeah, right. I had to refinance it, and not refinance. I had to finance the purchase, and it was one of the first things I ever did that and paid it off completely. And then we used to have pots on it with plants, right? And then I got this raccoon, and this raccoon.
Wait. Any story that contains the phrase "I got this raccoon." You have. Hold the show until I've heard the rest of this story.
Do you remember the recycler?
Oh, God, lovingly.
I was cruising through the recycler, and it said, "For sale, raccoon babies." And so I called it, and the gal said, "I have mom raccoon," and she had babies. I've got 2 left. They're both female. So there goes Rocky, I'm thinking, right? Yeah. And she says, "I'll meet you at a gas station that's now no longer in service." And so I went there. It was
Every part of this story is just getting better.
I met her at the gas station. She rode up on a bike with a little basket. And in the basket were these 2 itty-bitty raccoons whose eyes hadn't even opened yet.
Oh.
And I just kind of eeny-meeny-minied it, and I picked one, and I took her home. And she said that when they open their eyes, whoever they see, they will think that's mom. So when she opened her eyes, it was me she's looking at, and so she loved me and hated everybody else. and so anyway, so we had all these pots on top with these plants, and she loved to dig. I don't know if that's a raccoon thing or not, but she dug every one of these plants out, and all that dirt came out and went in the keys. So sometimes you go gunk.
Get a handful of topsoil.
Yeah, and oh man,
that's got to be a good note.
I had her for about 6 months. I don't think there was anybody that I knew that she didn't bite. And I came home from a gig about 2:30 in the morning, and the TV was on, the front door was open, all the lights were on. It looked like about 7 p.m. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I walked in, and I named her Roxy Raccoon.
Close enough.
Yeah. And there's Roxy, and she's sound asleep outside of a bedroom door that was closed. I'm like, what the hell? And I opened the bedroom, and as everybody, she had chased everybody into the room and wouldn't let them out.
This is the raccoon that I know.
Yeah.
I had 7 people clustered behind the door.
She had a couple of interesting things about her. She just doted on me, and they did that kind of run, and she would, of all things, dun 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 dun. Here's a story, and she would come running, and she'd run right up my leg, right up my arm, and sit on my head and watch this stupid show. I got Jeff and Jimmy, and they were 4 and 2.5. And so I got it on for them, and she'd come running, and she'd sit on my head, and she would watch that show. As soon as that show was over, down she'd go do whatever the hell she's off to. But she was a trippy animal. And after that night, it was made plain to me that either she goes or both of us go. And so a friend of mine whose brother-in-law was a forest ranger, we gave him to the forest ranger, and he built her a cage, and she stayed there for about 6 months, and then she had a litter, and she disappeared.
Wow.
Yeah, she disappeared into the woods after that. But she was goofy animal. I still on one of my
Every part of this story.
on one of my Rickenbacker cases, I still have a dirty paw print.
That's wonderful. What a memory.
Right after she dug out one of the things, she jumped on my guitar case because she wasn't just okay with ruining the piano. She tried to get one of my guitars too, apparently.
That is pretty freaking funny. Every part of that, all the way till the. So these were purebreds. You could tell by the lady bicycling up at the gas station.
What would you breed them with? But yeah, and man, she loved hard-boiled eggs, raw eggs, any kind of eggs. Oh, here we go. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. You're listening to Gunslingers, brought to you from behind the Iron Curtain on Radio Free California. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Gunslingers right here on
The Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
That's us from San Diego to San Francisco, from LA to Phoenix to Vegas. We got you covered.
Every Sunday night, thank you for inviting us into your homes.
Yeah.
A couple of real mother lovers over here on Mother's Day.
On Mother's Day, you bet. And again, this is a live show, so if you want to call in, you got questions about firearms, you got questions about paperwork, you got questions about my upcoming auctions on June 7th and 8th.
Plural.
Give us a call. Jimmy, what is that number?
You're going to call in at 866-870-5752. Once again, 870-5752. And if you're online whatsoever, want to watch us, you can go on to Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, and X right now. Leave your question or comment there. I'll be all over them. But look for Gunslinger Radio or Gunslinger Auctions.
And don't forget to...
You want to make sure you're hitting that like button, subscribing to us, and sharing when you get a chance. Make sure that we spread the word.
Because if you don't, the whoop man go get you.
Hey, what kind of firearm would Mom like?
Well,
There's fodder for discussion.
Okay. If you want to call in and tell us how's this? What firearm moms did you want for Mother's Day?
there
How's
you
that?
go.
So
Hey.
we'll kind of do all of that. Of course, again, you got questions about guns and so on and so forth. You want to call in for that? Give us a call. Otherwise, we're just going to sit around and kind of yak. What do you think of them apples, Chuck?
Just like our living legend Leon says, we love it when the ladies call. So if you're a shooting mama out there, make sure you're telling us where you're shooting, what you're shooting, how you're shooting. Come on.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. In the meantime, so today was interesting.
First of all, how is the weather? We got to spend a moment on that for our friends out
Which
of state.
day? I mean,
Right? It was Norway on Friday. It was Addis Ababa on Saturday.
I mean, spin the wheel of weather. What did it go? Maybe these people talk about planting the seeds in the
sky,
or
yeah.
Maybe they got something. 'Cause
Contrails.
Monday, Tuesday, it was raining and 48 degrees. Wednesday, it was like 82 and cloudy. Thursday, it was 90 and little cloudy. And then Friday, Saturday,
100 plus.
it was 104 in Norco.
Yay.
104. And,
You didn't miss any of it.
And somebody hit the big $25 million lotto
Son of a-
in Norco. And it wasn't me, damn it.
Well, we'll find them.
Yeah.
It's a small
Look for
town.
the fireworks
I'm
over
going to
their
go
house.
make him an offer he can't refuse.
I won't tell anyone that I won, but there will be signs.
There is
Hey, is that your Lambo out front?
Hey.
No, it's parked next to it. Anyway, so this week, Gunslingers, we're getting caught up with pictures. We're getting every other phone calls. When's the catalog going to be on? It will be up this week. We're hoping by Wednesday. We had a couple of last week. Remember, we told you the DOJ showed up, and you pretty much shut your doors when that happens because they don't want to be interrupted, and you do what they say. I mean, it's a little what's the word I'm looking for? Unpleasant.
Yeah, that's a sweet way to
not
put it.
their
It's
fault, but
definitely
it's just the way it has to be.
probing.
Yeah, and so we didn't get to do much last week because they were there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday. We're trying to get caught up with the shipping and get stuff out to people because I got people complaining about that. We still have something like 50 firearms that people have not sent us FFLs for. Can you
That's
believe it?
like
This
4
is
weeks away.
April 12th. It'll be a month tomorrow.
Yes.
And we're still sitting on at least 50 firearms that people have not sent us an FFL for.
I think if you purchased a firearm, you'd know. And you might want it. Real quick,
it is-
explain what has to happen.
Yeah, if you're out of state, okay, and you want to bid on my auction, love it. You can do one of several ways. We can do a phone bid with you. You can call us, and we will take a sealed bid. How sealed bids work, if you say, I'm willing to go as far as $1,000 on lot 15. Okay, well, if lot 15 is bid up on the internet, when it opens up at auction, if it's at $350, you're the next bid at $375. And then if somebody bids again, they're
400.
They're 400. Now I got 4.25. I got 4.25 on, in
450.
Yeah, and I got 4.5 now. 75. Got 75. Got to be $500. Anybody 5 and a 5 and a 5 and a 5.
Nope,
Nope.
good.
Sold 475 to sealed bidder, and that's how it works. We don't run you up, or we don't start at your $1,000 mark.
Whatever the top of that bid.
Yeah. The only bummer part of this is if we go, I got 1,000, now got to be 11, got 11, anybody 11, 11, 11, 11, got
That's
11,
my
now got to be
ceiling.
12. Now you're out. So that's
But you've only
just
got
how-
990 other firearms to bid on at your auction that weekend.
Yeah, so there is that, but so that's how those work. And I forgot where I was going with the rest of it now.
Well, because
We were talking
God,
about
I hate getting old.
how they would collect the firearm from you once they had won.
Okay,
out of state or anything like that.
so you're in Arkansas and you won lot 65. Okay, so what will happen? We will send you an invoice, usually day after, and it'll say, please email your FFL with your bidder number and name and lots won to gunslingerauctions@yahoo.com, and then we will print that with your name and bidder number, which is the most important part.
your paddle number is essential, folks.
Yeah, and so what happens is we get an FFL guy who doesn't give a rat's, what?
Nope.
And he just sends his FFL. Well, we've got 600 different buyers.
And
And we're supposed to know.
and okay, say you're like,
Right.
well, how many guys are coming in from Arkansas? Well, we have 13 other bidders in 11 points of your state, and guess what? We are not going to send your firearm to them, and as like we wouldn't like to send their firearm to you.
Yeah.
So
So
we need to keep everything in line, folks.
yeah. So anyway, what happens is people don't. I guess they're expecting us to send it directly to them, which is a
be
felony.
lovely, but you can't, so.
Yeah, it's kind of federal law, so you can't do that. And so we end up with the best case ever. I think I've said this on the air before, but we had a guy who won a gas trap Garand.
Ooh, that's a very valuable
Yeah, these
World
are
War II era rifle.
early Garands, pre-World War II, and he paid something about $25,000 for it.
See, I'd think you'd
Pretty
notice that.
penny.
If $25,000 were deducted from my bank account, even after I've won the Norco lottery,
Right. About 6 weeks went by, and I walked by, and I'm like,
this thing
wait a minute,
still
yeah, why is this here? And so I backtracked it, and he did pay. And so I'm looking for an FFL, and there's nothing. So $25,000. This isn't chicken fee. So I called the man in Texas. And no, it wasn't Yosemite Sam.
on his expansive ranch.
Yeah, I say, boy. So anyway, so I got a hold of him. You ready for this? I forgot all about that.
Wow.
So you have a historically significant firearm worth 25 grand. I plumb forgot.
I forgot all about that. I
So-
said, well, sir, would you mind? Because, this is an expensive thing to ship, and we're going to have to send this in, an armored crate. So,
I put it on my weekend card, so I
Yeah.
really didn't check that. Gee.
yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. And speaking of shipping has gone insane. I'm not going to mention letters, but we all know who they are. They want $120 to ship one firearm now. And I'm getting these people yelling at me saying, I ship one for $15. Well, sir, it's not the 1970s anymore.
And I was buying milk for a quarter.
Yeah, and and gas was 49 cents a gallon.
The
then,
Pony
too.
Express
Wow.
will do it practically
Wow.
for free.
I mean,
100
$120 just to ship one firearm. And so I don't know if you guys are aware of the gorillas that these shipping companies
Abso-freaking-lutely. Vito the Smasher.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm pretty certain that they're getting all their people from the zoo.
It's all
'Cause,
loose. It's all loose.
We got a gun back last week that was shipped for us. Now, keep in mind, this was like a $400 22 rifle. Not that big a whoop-de-doo, but it's wrapped solid in bubble wrap.
You know your business.
Yeah, then it's wrapped in paper to insulate it. Then each end has about 3 to 4 inches of heavy, thick construction paper so
a
that it
cushion.
doesn't go through. Okay, and with all of that, this box looked like one of your accordions.
How? But how?
I have no clue. You would have to go out of your way to
do
make
that.
this box this badly.
We've had them in hard cases where the hard case looks like maybe it's got some damage, but somehow they were like ghosts and went through the hard case and broke the internals of the firearm. It's like, how do you do this? How hard do you have to work?
We had a Browning. I want to say a medallion sold for about $6,500, and we shipped it to Illinois. And we got a very unpleasant call from the man. This is in a hard case.
In a heart. Okay.
Snapped in half.
Which is, by the way, intended to protect it from exactly.
Yeah, snapped in half. $6,500 gun snapped in half. So, of course, we call the company to come out
Make
and
a claim.
And you know what they say? Well, none of the stuff's here. We can't make it. We don't know how this happened. And
I can guess.
yeah, it's like, well, here's all the packing. Here's the box. You can see the fold in the box. So I had the man send it back to us. We sent it to somebody who I got it repaired for $1,200. You know what? We'll continue that. We got to get to Richard.
Let's get our back broken on this one.
All right, Richard, go. What's going on?
Good evening, you mother-loving gunslinger.
You gotta believe it.
What's going on, Richard?
Well, in the Civil War, some of the cannonballs were exploding balls. They exploded before they hit the target or as they hit it. I want to know what kind of explosive did they put inside the ball?
They had some scary, scary things. Some of them used a compound like fulminated mercury, much like you would use at a primer. And some of them actually had timed explosive fuses, which, given the technology at the time, you lit.
So basically, dynamite. in a
Imagine
ball.
that job, exactly.
Yeah, no thanks. Can you imagine?
Yeah, because I'm wondering what prevented them from exploding when they got fired out of the cannon.
Very little.
Yeah, or nothing. Yeah.
And sometimes,
A wish and a prayer.
now, gunpowder is actually pretty benign stuff as long as you treat it properly.
Yeah, which, in the midst of a battle is
It
going
was
to happen.
the thing you're going to do, right? But the guys running the sponge down the cannon, they were making sure they did that before you shoved the next powder charge.
Yeah. Richard, give us your joke.
Give us a joke.
We got 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's Mother's Day. What did the baby corn ask the mommy corn?
Where's Pop?
Lend me an ear.
Where you're close. Where's popcorn?
Richard, we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Richard. God bless
Have a
you.
good one.
Thanks.
Where's popcorn?
Mama corn.
Or Corn Pop. He's
He's
massaging Biden's leg now.
Uh-oh.
Big Wave Dave, how you doing? All right, you're listening to Gunslinger right here on
The Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
and we'll be right back with Rick from the CRPA right after this.
Yes, sir.
Cat
Do you
1261
really
says,
want to hurt me?
I'm not getting any of the chat on Facebook for some reason.
What's up?
I'm not getting any of the chat in Facebook.
I think I know who this is who said, sorry, but that animal tried to kill me. I don't have the fond memories that he has. That might be someone you know. Cat 1261.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Roxy did not like anybody.
There might be grounds for concern.
She
I'll
was.
tell you what, those critters, I'm glad you had the experience you had. Those critters are mean.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
those are pound for pound meaner than bobcats.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to mess with one. And they got sharp teeth.
Are these comments on our Facebook feed that you just saw?
.com.
So much you can't hide. Put on
A little makeup. Make sure to get your good side.
if the words unspoken. Get stuck
What a cool song.
So cool. Honestly.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Gunslingers right here on
The Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
And as advertised, let's get to our friend Rick from the CRPA. Rick, how are you?
Busy. How are you guys doing?
But pretty much the same.
Good to have you back, brother.
Absolutely.
So I said busy because we're one of the last states to still be going in the western United States. There are only 3 states still having legislative, and all but us will be done by mid to late June. So we're the one that keeps going, and as a result, all the big groups that hate Second Amendment people tend to focus even more of their efforts on the second half of our year because, well, they have nowhere else to go but Sacramento and mess with us. So things are heating up. We have a lot of things in a interesting situation called appropriations. That's where they decide if they have enough money to do things. And unlike you and I and everybody else that has a budget, there are right now about $25 to $30 billion in the hole and decide, hey, you know what? It's time now for us to spend more money.
Yeah.
So
Raise
if they were to
taxes.
pass all the bills, it would add a couple more $1 billion worth of debt to all of us. So one of the things that we're seeing, and we're trying to get people to wake up, it's not just our area, but it definitely impacts us, is how they justify it. They say, well, we'll just raise fees. Fees is another word politically for taxes. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to keep paying for more things in California, then don't say anything. But if you are tired of paying for everything in California, now's the time to start calling your assembly members and senators and say, quit spending money. Because it's getting, if you didn't think it was bad, it's getting really bad.
Do you really think they're going to listen?
You know, it's interesting, and I'm glad you asked me that question. Because, yeah, there are some places where some of the Dems are listening. We had some things in a couple of the areas on the hunting side and stuff where we had quite a few Dems, to my surprise, that came out and sided with us on some issues and are doing so this next week. So there are people that are listening because people out there are starting to raise their voices. We just need more of them to do it because that's been the result.
Well, there you go.
They remember, never ever forget how they get their job. They have to be voted in. And if you raise taxes and fees to such a point, and remember, there are an awful lot of rural counties here in California that don't get a lot of press, but all the legislators from those areas, they still need votes to get elected.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, how does everybody like paying $1.50 more than
Bingo.
the rest of the country? Go ahead, Rick. Go ahead.
And I think a lot of it, too, comes down to a lot of our people are like, oh, well, we got a good person elected into an office, rural area, or like down in San Diego when they elected Carl DeMaio, and then they rest on those laurels thinking they don't have to do anything anymore because they're persons. And that's not true. We have to keep fighting and fight hard to take back the state, and we're in a good position to do it. But I can just tell you, I've been involved with elections for almost 4 decades now. We already have about 20 people declared for Congress, about 15 for the Senate, and about 25 for the Assembly. And those aren't people that are rerunning for office. Those are new people. And normally we wouldn't see any of that till January of 26. But we're already seeing it right now in May of 25. So that's a full 7 to 8 months early. So people are already pulling the paperwork, setting up their machines. And so anybody out there that is sick and tired of this and thinks you can do better, reach out to us because we will help you build that campaign and get you in there because we got to change things.
A couple of things. This is the highest paid state legislature in the United States of America, so it's worth it to get that job. 80 people in the Assembly, 40 in the state Senate. Let's get a broom and clean out some of that old moss.
Right.
Or mass.
Definitely. So we have deadlines coming up. Right now, just to give you guys kind of a fun fact, we have less bills than we normally would, but the bills that are fiscally managed, it looks like almost 17% of them have died because they couldn't get out of the fiscal committees, which is the ones that are attached with money. And there's still a whole lot of bills that are on what they call suspense file, which means they're waiting to see if they can get enough votes to get them out of there. So the next 2 weeks, we could see a good chunk of other bills not make it, but they have to get out of appropriations to go to the other house. So they originate either in the Assembly and Senate, and they have to go through those appropriations committees in those two houses to make it to the opposing house.
Rick,
So,
are you gently suggesting that the budget shortfall might play into our hands just a tiny bit?
Oh, I'm not even gently, Mark. I am absolutely saying that.
Well, fair enough. Now,
So,
I not to bring a
Yep. You're going to ask about the court cases, and
Yeah.
we have no update. Am I frustrated beyond belief?
all right.
But, yeah, that's where we're at.
All right, RJ, did you hear that?
Yeah, we got staff asking about it.
Yeah,
here.
right.
Everybody wants to know because we got the big 2-day auction coming up, and everybody's asking, well, what about this? What about that? And it's like,
Yeah, and even, here's the thing that I keep trying to tell people. Even if you win the court case, unless it's a Supreme Court case, you're still looking at your ways off for anything changing. And so
Right.
that's why we have to stop these bills before they ever get through. And that's why, a couple of bills that we've got to start looking at is we have a bill from Gabriel who gave us the 11% excise tax. It's been called the Glock bill. I think that's inappropriate because, as you know, Jeff and Mark and Jimmy, you can put a Glock switch on more than just a Glock.
Yep.
There are several striker firearms that can have that switch. We also know it's completely illegal to put that switch on a firearm because of what it does to it.
Yep.
But
pretty much any semi-auto you can turn if you want to do so.
If you got enough skills.
So what's the and
Let's make it even more illegal.
yeah, it's already illegal to do that. We need it extra illegal?
Make it double illegal.
So-
Yeah.
Thank you.
yeah, so what he's trying to do is with this bill make it so you can't any firearm that's capable of handling something like that will no longer be allowed to be on the list of approved firearms. So this is one of those things that, Gabriel comes out with it, and he's very persuasive, and we're fighting against it, but this is one of those bills that everybody needs to be calling in. And especially if you live in a place like L.A. County or parts of the Inland Empire that are a little bit more left-leaning, your people are very scared that they won't get reelected because of the fires and all the other things that
Right.
went down. So now's the time to be calling and saying, don't vote for this, and because they're listening. And so we need to apply the pressure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, the fact that they're listening is good news. Now we need to get off our butts and start making these phone calls.
Make those calls.
And Rick, I'm just a regular guy sitting at home listening to this goofy ass show. How do I find who these people are?
Well, that is one of the things that's wonderful about the organization I work for, the CRP. You can go to crpa.org, and you can go look at the bill alerts. We have them right out there on the front page. You can hit it. You can also join our email list, and what we'll do is we'll send you when these bills come up, and all you have to do is go to the little app that we send you, and you type in your name, and it automatically sends the letters for you.
It's that easy,
Takes all
folks.
of about 40 seconds. I just did it the other day to show somebody how quick it is.
But what about Big Brother? Doesn't this mean that I'll have to do jury duty or something?
Nope.
So wait a minute. You mean you can just do this and,
Yes,
and no
you can just do
repercussions? Wow.
Yeah.
We can educate ourselves with the resources we have, and this is such a major one because you have to be knowledgeable on what you're looking at, who you're looking at, and why you're doing this. So, folks, use these resources. CRPA,
They've done the heavy lifting for you.
all over the place.
There you go. And really quick, Jimmy, didn't you have a question you want to ask Rick?
Oh, you know what? Just in case, I know it's been a national thing, but there's so many people dying on this hill about the suppressor law that or the tax on that. I just wanted to see, especially I know it doesn't really matter in California whatsoever as much, but is this the hill that a lot of people should be dying on this? I believe taxation on suppressors throughout the nation.
No, I mean, right now, there's a lot of things that we have to wait to see what the Pam Bondi, as the Attorney General, is going to do. But, we are working with the American Suppressor Association, which represents all the companies that manufacture them, to get suppressors in more than half the states. Because it's a great thing for people's hearing. There's a lot of benefits to them. There's a lot of misnomers that they become like Hollywood silencers.
Oh, God, yes.
You didn't hear that?
What was that?
Which is not how they work.
No.
So, a lot of it is right now, our people sometimes get a little upset and they get a little zealous and they get out in front of themselves and they say things that aren't actually factual and they actually end up hurting us more than helping us. So first thing I would say is take a deep breath. And second is do your research and then look for the big companies like the American Suppressor Association in this position, or CRPA. We publish papers on it. We got an article coming out in our magazine this next month about it, telling people the talking points, telling people what they need to know.
All right,
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Rick, we're coming up on the hard break at the bottom of the hour. We got to go. Anybody wants to join, donate their money, their time, their efforts, how do they get a hold of you?
CRPA.org, and if you have a question, reach out to us at contact@CRPA.org, and God bless you guys, and happy Mother's Day to everybody out there.
Thanks.
God
Same
bless
to you,
you,
Rick, and we'll
Rick.
talk to you next week.
Yep.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right, you're listening to Gunslingers right here on
The Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
and Aha.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles.
Bad for the guy because he's got to be pushing 60 at least by now. Try to hit those notes now,
Trying to-
Chief.
Come on.
You talk about well, it was in the key of
We used to do
G,
it.
and now it's in
Drop
A.
Keep dropping it.
Yeah.
Further.
Down a major third.
Yeah.
Down a.
Take on me.
Honestly. I think I told you I went to see the Eagles like a year or so ago, and everybody spent the whole concert waiting for "Take It to the Limit"
Oh, yeah, forget
to see
about
if
it.
he was going to nail that note. If anybody was going to nail that note,
Well, ever since Randy
they
Meisner
never
left,
did.
No, ever since Randy Meisner left, they should have just left the song alone because he is that song.
Right.
Yeah, and Glenn Fry sang it for a long time, and no, I mean that's like Barney Rubble covering Elvis. It's just not working.
Good try.
Barney Rubble covering Elvis. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I will use that.
Hey, Fred.
Start spreading the news.
Oh man. Hey.
We have a surprisingly knowledgeable bunch about Civil War cannons.
I would imagine we have a pretty smart audience, period. One of the reasons I always tried to explain to television channels why the show idea I had would have worked, but nobody had the gutsies to do it.
That's 818-662-3791 or email anna@salemla.com. Let's make your business.
Doug says, "Hey, jury duty this week. Yippee. Woohoo."
There we go. Now I can see them. Couldn't see any of the. Shit.
We had Wood Ranch for lunch today.
Ooh, that's good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Of course, I indulged a little too much, so I just basically skipped dinner.
Really good stuff.
Yeah. You can tell I'm at least half Irish because I just love a good baked potato. And they usually do a good one. And they put that...
Okay, sour cream, bacon bits, chives, what?
Uh-huh.
I am now ready for dinner. Thank you. The
Yes.
next hour and a half is going to
Don't
be...
forget some cheddar cheese.
Ooh,
Yeah.
You're playing my song.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah. And then
Can we order in here?
the big granulated sea salt on the outside, so when you eat the whole thing.
You ever play Hunger when you were a kid? Because
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what you're doing right now. Right now. Ooh, I hope they had apple pie.
You know, there is a vending machine down.
I know when to go out. I know when to stay in. Get things done.
I catch a paper boy, but things don't really change. I'm standing in the wind, but I never wave bye-bye. But I try.
Welcome back, everybody, to Gunslingers right here on
The Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
That was a nice little Bowie break, wasn't it?
Oh, Bowie break. You know why I live.
Yeah. Okay. So, again, this is a live show, guys. That means we take phone calls. Jimmy, what's that number?
You guys are going to want to call in at 866-870-5752. Once again, that's 866-870-5752.
And again, this is Mother's Day, so let's hear from you mothers.
Yeah, all you mothers and mother lovers. Come on. No, we got to go. And again, our chat over there on all the streams on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Facebook Live, all going off. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Melissa. Mr. Enigma's on there, Downranger. All of them are chiming in. Thank you guys all for the support. Making sure you're hitting that like button while you're on.
And we found out what happened to our stream on Instagram. Yeah, you ready for this? We have been booted from Instagram.
You mentioned firearms on the Gunslinger.
Yeah, because it said how does the word, Kevin? We poured a good light on firearms.
Positive spin on
a
fire?
positive spin on firearms.
A show dedicated to a positive spin on firearms?
How
a positive
dare
spin
you?
on firearms?
Oh, I mean, how the audacity.
Craziness.
I just unbelievable. How
Raccoons
darest we?
in the hen house.
And then we also talked about firearms in a good way, including not including
responsible use
and machine guns
and machine guns,
because that's what we do here.
I'm so glad that our name's not a dead giveaway.
Yeah, the Gunslinger Show. I wonder what they're doing.
Oh, what are they doing?
Sewing.
So tell me more about the doily makings that you do.
They probably saw the name. They're like, they're gangsters. They're slinging firearms across the nation. Look at them. No, we're doing it very legally, and we're talking about fun with guns. That's what the premise of this show is, folks.
Safety, following the law.
Yeah, well,
educating the masses.
How darest, you know?
How dare?
How dare we do something to bring light to a situation?
To a right, a light. To a right. The Second Amendment is a right, folks. And all we're trying to do is educate us and try to save those rights for all of our citizens, not just the action shooters, the competition shooters. We're doing it for everyone, for you, for me, for your neighbors. We're trying to protect us for the reason it was made, folks.
And again, the reason I started this show was, you can get politics everywhere, and we let Rick kind of handle that, and we just kind of show people that you don't have to be a nut to own a firearm.
No, come on.
I mean, I may be a nut, but that's a whole other story. But there's things that you can do with firearms that don't make you nutty.
Come on.
And that's kind of what we were all about. Yeah. Just fun with guns and no politics. That's kind of what we've gone with most of the time. Of course, like Mark always says, politics, don't leave us alone. Yeah. So,
but the show's basic premise is safe, legal, enjoyable use of firearms.
Yeah.
This must stop!
Right? I mean, it's not like we're explaining to you how to make atomic bombs or
welcome to the Molotov Hour. Come on. No, we're trying to break.
That's our OnlyFans page.
That's what this show is about. It's about breaking the stigma. You see, if anyone, especially our audience, knows our audience, it's from every walk of life that we have them here. And this is who we deal with, who come into the gun shop, who come into our auction. It's every walk of life. It doesn't look at your age, except we have to be over 18 and 21 in California. But it doesn't look at your sex. It doesn't look at the color of your skin. It is non-biased on every front, and that's what we're here for, to protect everyone. Mm-hmm. So come on, folks. Let's jump on the train.
Well, their train is derailed a long time ago. Let's get to Mark in Woodland Hills. Mark, how are you?
Hey, good evening. it's always a pleasure to hear Rick tell us about what's going on in Washington and Sacramento, because it has such a strong impact on our rights. Unfortunately, not all of our Second Amendment tribe follows the state and national politics. That's why guys like Rick are very important. I just happened to be watching a live broadcast of a speech by DeSantis today. Now, everybody in my tribe kind of liked him as the best governor in America, but when he challenged Trump, big mistake. He shouldn't have listened to Karl Rove whispering in his ear,
Yeah.
But he did come out and he took on Governor Hairgel of California, and he spoke at great length about now here's what made me so happy. He spoke at great length about rejecting firearm and ammo lists as unconstitutional, thank God. And this was basically a signal that he expects to face in the general Newsom in 2028. Bring it on. I would love to
Boy,
comparison.
howdy.
He also, believe it or not, he wants to stop property taxes on a yearly basis. Once you buy, like he said, if I buy at Best Buy's a flat screen TV and put it on my wall, do I send them a check every year? Of course not. So that's a good thing. And we still remember what he did challenging Trump, but coming out as so strong on the Second Amendment rights buoyed my spirits somewhat, because he is a good governor, and I have interests in Florida anyway, property, etc.
Oh, there you go.
But I also just like to, I should have had this prologue, but I spoke to one of the organizers the other day of the SaveCalifornia.org, one of the organizers from Trump Talk and BillBlasterApp.org, and it's extremely efficacious. I, in fact, contacted Tillis's office this week, obviously, and I just would encourage everybody to get involved. If you don't, they're going to trample our rights.
Well, that's
you
what
get
they
what
do
you
best.
vote for, and you get what you don't vote for. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm sorry.
Good sentence.
No, absolutely.
Well, yeah, like I always say, look what they're doing to us now, and we're armed. Can you imagine what they're going to do to us if they get us unarmed?
Our founders were fearful of a all-encompassing authoritarian government like the King of England.
Yeah, because that's what we just came from.
We're up against crypto-Marxists.
Yeah. Well, or as I always say, we're witnessing the fall of Rome, but it's in 5G speed.
Right? No. Yeah.
Well, they fell for all the same reasons we could. We have an expansive empire, and we got to cut loose some of these problems that have no geostrategic effect on the United States of America.
Yep.
And I thank you so much for the time, gentlemen. God bless you all. What you're doing.
Thank you, Mark. We'll talk to you later.
Always a great conversation, Mark.
Hey. Okay. Fun with guns.
Fun with guns.
I went out to the world famous Double R Bar today, and
one
I
of
shot
the
for a while.
nicest ranges in cowboy action shooting.
Yep, and I was a little disappointed that nobody that listens to the show came out. But one of these days we'll get you guys to get off your butts and come on out and check it out.
It's worth doing. The range is beautiful, and it's museum quality. It's film quality props and sets.
It really is. I mean, we shot the very first stage. We were in a old-fashioned bar.
Started in the bar.
Yeah, with piano, with
and
a
pole.
bar, with a pole, and
And by the way, it's a functional bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
After,
it is.
because safe and responsible, after the shooting is over.
After
Safety first, folks.
there's a poker table on one side. There's, and the range is out. I shot. It was a 10, 10, and 4+. I don't remember the particulars on how you had to shoot it, but you had to go to 3 different positions, and I did it in 18.29 seconds.
That just cracks me up. So, folks, just so you understand, that's 24 aimed shots from 4 different firearms, which must be manually articulated for each and every shot. Plus, you have to load the shotgun off your body.
Yeah,
in 18 seconds.
And I'm shooting one-handed, meaning I don't get to use the second hand to cock because these are single action, so you have to cock it every time you pull the trigger. So I'm using one hand only, and then my shotgun is an exposed hammer or a muleer. So I have to cock the hammers. Huck out the old ones, get in the new ones, cock the hammers, yada, yada, yada. And I did that one in 18.29 seconds.
You're pretty good at it. Last I heard, you're a state champion in that.
Oh, yeah. Well, there is that.
Hey, The people that run that match are dear friends of the show. Yes.
Yeah. John and Annie, they're good friends, and of course they both work at Gunslinger Auctions down in Orange. So say hey to them. Yeah, and we only had 19 people today, so we all shot together. They didn't split us up, and so I got to shoot with a lot of people that I don't get to shoot with often. We got to shoot with Clint Steele and Sassy Lassie and a whole bunch of, and man, he's cooking.
Yeah, he's found another gear.
Yeah, he's. I was real impressed with his rifle. Very, very smooth and very quick. So I, was watching him going, "You."
There's always some damn kid
out of nowhere.
50-year-old kid.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a lot of fun. I only stayed for 3 stages because I had the family coming over, and Double R Bar from Norco. It's an hour to get there, but it's 2 hours and 10 minutes to get home.
That Vegas traffic coming down there.
And of course it's Mother's Day, so you got all the people coming home from Vegas
trying to get home
for dinner for mom.
Oh, she's gonna be so mad.
Oh man, it was brutal. The 15 was not pleasant.
Oh,
yeah.
Still, they usually put on a great match out there, fun stages, and
yep, and
real turn and burn stuff.
The last stage I shot, Bear Trap Bandit, who's a longtime friend of all of ours. He shot it outlaw style. Now, outlaw is not a sanctioned SAS category.
It's a thing some folks do.
Yeah, what it
fun,
is everything is shot like the movies from the hip.
Only the difference is in the movies, you've always got a writer and special effects.
Yeah.
These guys got to hit for real.
In real life, not so much. So, and of course he shoots black powder. So he shot the rifle from the hip. He got 8 out of 10, I believe.
Dang.
I was very impressed with that. And then he shot his pistols 10 out of 10.
Gooey.
Then he got
from the hip.
From the hip. And then he moved over to shotgun. And that's when the wheels fell off. He was hitting them, but he was hitting them a little low, and they just weren't going down. He went through the whole bandolier and only got one down. And I was like, that's really weird because it seemed like he was hitting them. Then I got up there and I blistered it, man. It was 3 targets, and you had to go 8 rounds on the first one, 1 and 1 to make 10 for your rifle, and then 5. All 5 on the first one, then 3, 2, 1. Yeah. And so I blistered through those really quick. Then I got to the shotgun, and then they weren't going down for me, and I was aiming. It took me 9 to get down 4.
9?
Took me 9.
You?
Yeah. And I was hitting them, and everybody was saying you were hitting them. They just weren't moving. And then they went out and moved them, and everybody was knocking them down.
All of a sudden.
So it's like,
I'll be darned. Got to get some of that JB Weld out of the pivot.
Something, I don't know. But anyway, again, this is a live show. Give us a call. Jimmy, what's the number?
866-870-5752.
All right. You're listening to Gunslingers. We'll be right back.
Yeah, we will. Question. Well, we're off, right? Yeah. Jim Healy asking for a good speed loader for an M&P 2.0 compact. What's coming up online right now is Speed Bees, but I don't know if either one of you has. Caldwell Universal Pistol Loader.
Question from Jim Healy. We're looking at the same one. A good speed loader from the for the M&P 2.0 compact. Is there anything better than the Lula?
Not that I'm aware of.
It's like it's everything that we've always had.
They're about $35,
give or
and
take.
honest to God,
yeah,
they're worth it.
They really are, especially if you're shooting more than just a couple of mags.
Yeah.
You can shoot more than a couple of mags.
Yeah.
If you have one of those things.
Yeah.
Magazine springs, especially in a compact firearm, especially that spring has to be powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And your thumbs
and super universal for most.
Yeah.
That.
Kong, everybody. That's GunslingerAuctions.com.
Turn your back on Mother
that song. Welcome back,
Such a good
everybody,
song.
to Gunslingers Radio. You're on.
The Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
Okay, so back to shooting cowboy action up at the world famous Double R Bar. Okay, so we got up there, and I shot the first 3 stages, and again, I had to leave. So I went over to the next stage, and I thought we were just about done. So I got over to the next stage, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I peeked around the corner, and there was still like 3 or 4 people waiting to shoot us. How the heck did I get out of there so quick? And I thought, you know what? It's only about 5 minutes till I got to go anyway, so I just, discretion being the better part of valor.
But you showed up to support the cause, which is very, very cool.
Yeah, because, Annie's got some things to do, so she's going to have to step out of cowboy action for a while. So this was kind of a last hurrah for her. So went up to show support and do all of that. And
that couple cuts a pretty broad swath in cowboy action shooting, and it is much, much appreciated.
You bet.
And 2 of the nicest people I've ever known. I love them both. They're amazing people. Love my time.
Okay, so anyway, some of the stuff that, for not necessarily for June, but some of the stuff coming in, we got a full size bear trap.
Boy,
a regular, real,
an actual, yes, hanging with the big thick chain bear trap. It's kind of amazing.
That'll keep the kids off the porch.
Well, we're thinking about putting it out in the front room and tell people don't step down that alley. Yeah. And guess what happens?
Complete department here. Those things will hack a leg off.
Or do more than that. Yeah, they can zip it right off. So we got into this really interesting.
Who gave you a bear trap?
One of the customers.
You and the raccoons. You and the bear traps.
Well, I put the raccoon in the bear trap.
Tell me more about this Norco.
Keep him there.
Well, if you put it on one side and then you step on it, you can shoot him like an arrow. You think cannonballs are bad? Wait till you catch flying raccoons coming at you.
Raccoonapult. Yes, I love it.
Raccoonapult.
Oh man! So we're stalling because we're waiting for. There he is. We have a really famous guy calling in to say hello. You guys ready to talk to him?
Let's go.
The one, the only, Leon the Motorman. Leon, how are you?
I'm doing great. Happy Mother's Day to all the beautiful mothers out there, I tell you. That's just great. Thank you. You guys are doing a great job, and I'm just sitting here listening to you guys every weekend, and it's just so much fun on a Sunday evening.
Well, thanks, great. Leon. How's everything going?
Everything's going good, I'm just a bachelor looking for a nice wife and somebody. No, I don't know. I shouldn't have said that.
So you're going to be getting a whole bunch of cards and letters now.
All of a sudden.
No, I had a great wife. Old Dixie Belle was just a great wife. So I've been busy flying and just playing around, cleaning my guns and getting things, I had my guns all laid out the other day, just cleaning them up and getting them all in good shape like you guys always telling me to do.
Well, 2 quick questions. Number 1, when are we going to go to the Peterson?
Oh.
And when are you going to come down to the Orange Store and let's go have some lunch?
Oh, yeah.
I'd love it. I'd like to say to do it this week. I just, my schedule, I never know from day to day. But I'd like to do it this week if possible, or any time. And I can take you to the Petersons. I got some free passes.
I like free passes.
I got free passes, and I can take you in, and I'll give you a personal tour of the complete museum and the vault and everything. In fact, for all the people listening, and I'm all serious, it's a must to see the Peterson Automotive Museum. It's the best automotive museum in the United States.
That's a shining endorsement right there, folks. If you don't believe it from that voice, I don't know who you're going to believe.
Yeah, it's a great museum, and I look forward to it. You just let me know your schedule, and I'll get out there and try to get out there this week to you. And
it's good motorcycle weather, Leon.
Lunch with you.
Oh, there you go. Did you hear that? It's good motorcycle weather.
It is good motorcycle weather, But anyway, I've cut down on a little bit my motorcycle riding. My doctors have put me on a little blood thinner, and they said don't ride for a while.
Okay.
But anyway, I'm doing good, having a good time, and just kicking back and flying my plane and doing things, and always listening to you guys, which is a great show. It's the main show of the week.
Hey now.
Thanks for moving over and leaving a hole for us.
Yeah, I had to drop a nice little Leon idiom at the beginning of the hour, especially celebrating all the moms out there. You know, we love it when the ladies call.
One of a couple of things we borrowed from you, Leon.
Well, thank you so much. I love you guys, and I love all the listeners and all my listeners over the years. I just love them. I'm trying to maybe and eventually put a podcast together at a restaurant. I was at a restaurant tonight, the Valley Inn, and we were talking about, let's do a podcast from here. And I said, well, I'll think about it, and I'd like to get back on the air somewhere because I've got so many beautiful listeners, and just not only listeners, I shouldn't even say that. Listeners are my friends, just like you guys.
That'd make a lot of people happy.
They're friends, and I've had a good run, and I just love it, and I've done, I just had fun and like to share with everybody all my achievements, and especially the motorized world.
You've had a long, great run, and that finish line has not hit you yet. So you keep running, Leon. We're waiting for it. We're trying to play catch up to you.
But Jeff, you got more cars than I got. I'm a little disappointed in that.
I don't know. I think you got a lot stashed out in that hangar somewhere. I'm sure.
No, you've got the bread car, you got so many history vehicles.
Well, that 60 Helms truck came to me from a customer, and
that's pretty cool.
It really is, because that's the Helms truck that I grew up with, not the old Divco. So it's a 1960 Chevy Apache Helms truck. Yeah, and when I take it out, I've said this many times, I can drive a 63 Vet, a 55 Chevy, or whatever, a 69 Camaro. None of them get the attention that 1960 Helms truck.
Come on.
I'm not kidding you. I get more people picture and video and waving and honking that I actually painted on the back door. Yep, it's really a Helms truck.
I wish they had an air freshener that smelled like bread.
Take care of that. That's really a big piece of history.
Yeah, it sure
is. I came to California years ago, and that was a big deal. You could smell that truck coming down.
Everybody knows that smell.
Yep. It was kind of like two doors opening, and you get the smell of heaven.
Yeah,
buddy.
Yeah,
it was great.
It really was. I mean, if you could imagine, guys, a baked donut, not a deep fried and nasty whatever. These were baked, and they were literally the size of a dinner plate with hand glazing on them, real sugar glaze. As a kid, my grandma used to have to cut it in half because I couldn't eat the whole thing. That's how big. And they were a nickel. Can you believe that? Jeez.
Well, that was the day, but that's part of the history of Southern California with the automotive vehicles, and it was just a great era at that time. It was just, and I lived in Culver City when I first came to California in 68. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. 58. 58. I lived in Culver City, and you could smell those vehicles driving down the street if you passed one.
That big Helms, they had like an entire city block, right?
Yeah, we used to drive back going to the...
Yeah, we used to be right around the corner from them at the old station, remember?
Yeah, Leon, we are all there.
Yeah, it's a huge city block, and it was just absolutely just a lot of history in Southern California, not only with automotive, but, you bring into guns, too. Guns have a history of way back when.
Oh, yeah.
And I certainly enjoy listening to that about the history of guns and automotive. My life has been in the automotive world, but I've been a hunter and I've been so much of a collector, but not like you guys, but you guys taught me a lot about firearms and the safety and things of this nature.
Well, thanks, Leon.
You've taught millions about your expertise. so we, again, we're
me
playing catch
especially.
up.
Yeah.
Encyclopedic knowledge.
You bet.
Speaking of teaching people about both firearms and automobiles, next time.
Yeah, the week after Father's Day, Leon is going to be in studio with his friend George, and we're going to do another Motor Slingers show. So everybody got to stay tuned for that. In fact, I got a call from Brian, the amp repair guy, and he said his reporter friend is going to do another story on that. So be looking for that here pretty soon. A newspaper is going to come out and do a story on that.
I know it's our audience is one of their favorite shows, so we cannot wait, Leon.
Guns, boats, airplanes, cars, weed whackers.
Leon, we're coming up on the top of the hour break. Weed whackers, of course. It's good to talk to you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
God bless you, Leon.
Okay, God bless you guys. And again, happy Mother's Day to everyone. God bless you all.
Thank you, Leon. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Okay, let's go have lunch.
Love you guys.
Okay, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
We have a legend on. Come on.
Right?
What a cool guy.
And followed by Cyndi Lauper. Okay. You're listening to Gunslingers right here on
the Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
And we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Let's go.
Downrange says Helms reopened. Now, I thought I had seen something or read something about that. What do we know?
Well, a bakery calling itself Helms has not reopened, but has opened in the original.
In that
because they turned it into a
giant
shopping center,
very high-end shishi.
Yeah, and they opened up a bakery, and they're calling themselves Helms.
Give me a donut that big. That's
they don't
hand-glazed?
have any of the old recipes, and they're not making anything from the past.
I don't need a quinoa.
Do you have one of those kale nuts?
I honestly believe if they could score some real, I think they'd be lined around the block for weeks.
Come on.
Because nobody get past
person,
me.
You say Helms. You say Helms, and people break in. They're wreathed in smiles.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just it would be bitching to see. Better to eat when I mean, baked donuts. Have you ever noticed when you eat like a glazed donut now, you can taste that damn thing for 2 hours? And it's this
like
funky,
airy and
not these things. These things were baked. They were that big around. I mean, and the donut itself was like that all the way around. And it literally, my grandma would put it on a dinner plate and cut it into quarters because I couldn't eat the whole thing.
Well,
just
go grandma.
Yeah. Well, some of my best memories were with her and the Helms man and the little toot. I have that horn. Yeah. They came in two, these things. One would go later on, it would go around the neck, and the original ones were actually two Helms pie tins with a rubber diaphragm, and it had that horn at the end. It had a little rubber tube, and it would just blow through that horn, and you could get some real volume with that one. But I've got that also, but that's on the truck.
What's the engine in the truck?
The guy, it was a Chevy, and the original was the Blue Flame, the straight six. But the guy that I got it from, he bought it from the original 1969 going out of business Helms auction.
How smart was that?
Yeah,
by the way?
and he had it. He turned it into a hunting truck. So he gutted it, and he put in a 350, and a Ford 9-inch rear end, and that's what it's got in it now. So I can cruise anywhere. So that Blue Flame, I want to say it was a 265. That straight six.
Yeah. And it was good industrial.
Yeah, and you could
generator of an engine.
You could get 55 in that pretty easily, but I can cruise right along with this thing now, and I do. It's a lot of fun.
That's got to be honest to God. I love the fact that all the cool cars you have, and that's the biggest eye catcher.
Hands down, far and away.
And anybody that had the experience that you and I did growing up, which was when the Helms trucks came to town, vacation time, baby.
Yeah, yeah. And they came out at least every other day down our street.
Ooh.
So, that was...
One thing about living in Chino, especially in the early, we were there the early 90s and all that, The Wonder Bread factory used to be pumping that smell all day.
Did you ever get to go on what the school would take you? What do they call those?
I grew up in a small town in America. We didn't have access.
Oh, we always
You had to walk in dirt.
Okay, we would you'd get in a bus and they take you. I always got stuck going to one of the dairies.
Oh yeah.
And I never got to go to the Helms.
Oh man.
Yeah. And one time we went to the LA Zoo, and I think I was 6, and we had these little hats that pasted in the back with your name on it, and a damn goat knocked me over and ate my hat.
Ate my damn hat.
You don't have
I was itty bitty.
a good history with animals, do you?
Usually I do. It's people around me.
Except goats.
Yeah, damn goats. I had fainting goats for a while.
I remember it.
Yeah, fainting goats. They have a gene in them that when they get scared, they stiffen up and they fall over, and it looks like they're fainting. In the Middle East, they used them as protection for their expensive goats. They'd have these goofy goats outside, and here comes a coyote, and all the meat goats would get running. These poor guys would get, they'd freeze up and they'd fall over. So they had an actual reason. And of course, Americans think this is kitschy. So over here, these are expensive, these stupid things. And I was just telling the story about my fainting goats. They are interesting, but you have to scare them in order for it to do that. And you feel kind of bad. Until I bought $2,500 worth of hay when hay was $5 a bale, and goats climb.
Yes.
And I had, my hay barn I had full, and these goddamn goats would climb to the top, and they just eat and do whatever, and. The whole entire everything. I had to throw it all away. It just everything reeked of ammonia. It was just unpleasant.
Did we have shashlik and kebabs shortly after?
No, I found them a good home. Believe it or not, they're too expensive to shoot. Yeah, not a big goat eater. I don't know. It never really appealed to me.
Jim Healy says we got to go to JPL and pass.
They get all these baritones out of England back in the 80s. Just about every one of them, right?
They're trying to sound American, so they had to drop it a bit or their accent would come through.
I mean, just about every song we're going to hear tonight is somebody doing either an Elvis impersonation from England or a Bowie impersonation. I don't know which one. But anyway, welcome back to Gunslingers right here on
the Gunslingers Syndicated Radio Network.
And of course, we're doing Mother's Day special. That means we want you ladies to call in. You got questions about guns? How about this? You want a gun, you don't know what to get. Give us a call. We'll help you through that.
You want to call in right now at 866-870-5752. Once again, 866-870-5752.
And just like that, we have Lisa in Chandler.
Boom, look at that.
In Chandler, Arizona.
Arizona.
Lisa, how are you?
Evening.
Hello, I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Great.
What can we do for you?
Good. I have a question about a CCW. So what specific training or qualifications does California require for a non-resident to obtain a CCW? And would any training I completed for my Arizona CCW potentially satisfy those requirements?
No, and no. California does not do
reciprocity. They have zero reciprocity with any of the other 49 states.
Other states do take California, but California doesn't accept anybody. The only way you can get one is you have to be a California resident.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
And take the California course.
Yeah, and every county has a different version of this course. Mm-hmm. Riverside is fairly simple to get through. I know San Bernardino is the same. Orange, I think, is still pretty easy. LA, forget about it.
But the state has mandated now the 2-day course, right?
Eight hours, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
2 8 hours if you're brand new, and 8 hours if you're a renewal. So it's still pretty extensive to get one out in California. But
your prior
Okay, yes,
training
I think,
will serve you
for
in good
CCW
stead.
Out here, it's like a 4-hour training class, I believe.
That's
from
what
I read.
that's what it used to be here, and you had to fill out a questionnaire, and some of the questions. They literally, one of the questions was,
"Are you a liar?"
Well, it said, "Have you ever done something for which you were not caught?" And to my answer, I'm not making this up. My answer was, "What do you mean, like that Kennedy thing?" Needless to say, they put me on suspension.
No kidding.
Yeah, and then another one was, I read it wrong. I thought it said, when was the last time you lost your temper? To which I wrote, right about now.
I just did. What time is it?
But it actually said, when was the last time you lost control of your temper? It still kind of fit, but the questions were just so dumb. They've changed a lot of that now in Riverside, so you don't have to answer all these,
inane questions.
Yeah, but
and one of the things this show always does is we always want more training, more education. So either if you do come to California and you get it here, we always recommend that you get that training where you're at right now, and in Chandler, Arizona.
Yeah. Well, in Arizona, it's quite simple to get a CCW.
Yeah, but you know what? Training, always train. Train.
Yeah, because you don't want to find out things about your gun when you really, really need it.
Oh, no one likes surprises when you're scared.
Okay. All right, Lisa.
Hey, Lisa, are you a mother?
I am a mother.
Happy Mother's
Day to you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
I do have a quick Mother's Day joke.
Go ahead.
for it.
Okay.
As long as it's clean, go ahead.
Why did the kids give their mom a blanket for Mother's Day? Because they thought that she was the coolest mom ever.
Oh,
that's good.
And clean. We like it. Lisa,
Yes.
thanks for the call.
Thanks, Lisa.
All right, have a good night.
You too. Take
Thanks,
care.
Lisa.
I don't know. Could she be a mother? She sounded 12.
I know, right?
Mother ever.
The squeak.
I guess that covers it.
And see, ladies, a lady called. We didn't bite her head off. We didn't attack her.
And with a great question, and these are things that we all want to know. I know men out there were looking for that question too. It's probably on the tip of many people's tongues. But ladies, do not be afraid to call. Call in right now, 866-870-5752.
Yeah, and you know what? I bet you. I know that a lot of Riverside deputies listen to this show. And I've just outed myself because I know, believe it or not, what I said was true. I actually did say, what do you mean, like that Kennedy thing, in my answer. and it used to hang on the wall.
This guy.
So I've just outed myself. Yeah.
Things not to do.
This guy.
Check the wall.
Oh, that was him, huh? Deputy. Well, I won't mention his name, but he was a friend for a long time. He's now retired, and I haven't seen him in a while. But every time he saw me, he goes, "Right about now, huh?" It just hit me at the moment. And you know me,
That's funny, but bureaucracies are notoriously famous for not having a sense of humor.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, but then you shouldn't have put a question with a sense of humor to it. I mean, I was 3. What am I going to do? Yeah, I was there. I was me in a grassy knoll. Yeah. In my diaper and anyway.
Standing on my grandfather's shoulders. That was me. We had one long trench coat on.
Well, you know what? We got Mary in Phoenix. Mary, what can we do for you?
I need some advice, please.
Okay.
Yes, I have, and I want to get a gun, probably 2, and I've always wanted a shotgun. Yeah, an 870 Remington comes to mind. In fact, I met you guys at the Inland Empire event, and you guys were so much fun.
Well,
Gee
thank you.
whiz. So on my way back, I'm going to stop back to LA. I'm going to stop into your place and have you show me which guns to look at.
Okay.
Is this Mary?
Yeah.
Yes.
We took the picture together.
Oh yeah, you were showing that around.
Yeah, and I did mention you on that week's show. But thank you so much for listening. And great question. Yes, the whole time she was telling me what shotgun she was going to get. Every time it came up on stage, she was like, "Yep, see, look at you're on the right track."
Somebody else had an 870 Remington, and so I think that's the one that I want to get. But I also should get a handgun of some sort too.
Well, I would agree
That's
with
a
you.
good pairing.
870 is
That's everybody on the show's favorite.
Yep. You just can't beat them.
Yes, that's what I want to get. And do you think, I know you can get double barrel and single barrel, but I need to learn
Sure.
about
Well,
them.
there's actually only one pump action double barrel out there. That's the Standard Products what is it? A K?
KSG?
No, that's the Keltec.
That's the Keltec.
It's DP12, I believe it's called.
That
yeah,
is correct.
And I actually have one of those. Long story short, we got it in. I thought, this is the dumbest thing I've ever saw. And just for the heck of it, I took it to the range. You talk about falling in love with a gun.
Really?
This thing was the coolest. It's got 2 barrels and 2 mag tubes underneath. You
can rock and roll.
You load it up. You rack it one time, and it takes and loads 2, and all you do is pull that trigger twice. And I've got video of me somewhere, I'll have to get it to Kevin one of these days, of me doing, I think it was 8 rounds in like 3.2 seconds, just bam, 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 bam. Yeah, and just rocking that dude. And I took that thing home and I put an EOTech on top and a flashlight underneath, and
that's the house go-to now?
Oh, man.
Also, because of the bullpup configuration, it's also short, which makes it a much more readily available and usable in closed quarters like a house or an apartment.
Absolutely. I love that
now,
shotgun.
Should you get a long barrel or a short barrel?
If you want it for in your house, I would recommend a short barrel, because if you have to go around corners, you want to be able to make that turn and not worry about hitting your barrel all over the place.
The nice thing about getting something like an 870 is if you wanted to go out and shoot trap or skeet or something like that, the barrels are interchangeable.
Yeah, like the Remington 870, you can find those barrels all over the place, and it's just a real simple 30 seconds. You unscrew that cap at the end, take out the old barrel, put in a new, rescrew that cap in, and you got a
different
28. Gun. Yeah, you got a 28-inch barrel.
Wow. Now, which would be best? I remember as a kid, I used to go with my boyfriend, go duck hunting. Get up early in the morning and sit out in the lakes
in the cold
area in Minnesota, and he had a shotgun. He also had a rifle.
Okay.
Yeah, but that brings back fond memories. So I'm sure a shotgun would work great for duck hunting.
Mary, I'm going to add one more thing, and that is for personal defense or just generally shooting, buy yourself a box of Winchester Featherlight shells. The recoil is less than a 16 gauge or a 20 gauge. It's very, very comfortable to shoot and will do anything you need it to do.
Absolutely.
Will the 870 Remington deal with all different types of ammo?
Absolutely.
Like that?
The nice thing about a pump shotgun is you function the action, not the ammunition. So you can load it with anything from something that your grandma could shoot comfortably after her lemonade social on Sunday to something that would reliably drop a charging bear.
You'd be speaking of my aunt.
Go get her.
All right, Mary.
Good call, Mary.
Thanks for the call.
Thanks, Mary.
And hopefully we'll see
Thank you for your help, and I'll see you on my way back.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. Take care now.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
All right, you're listening to Gunslingers right here on
the Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
And we have lines open. Jimmy, what's the number?
866-870-5752. Once again, that's 866-870-5752.
Then, ladies, give us a call. Both from Arizona.
Love to hear it. Yeah, I met Mary at she
I love that.
She was really excited. She was like, "You're Jimmy from?" I was like, "Yeah, I am. Going straight." It was really, and she was she's a sweet lady. Like when I first got to the table, everyone was kind of strangers, like, how's it going? Then a couple of people that we know started sitting at the table, and I'm saying hi, and they're fans of the station and all. And she's like, "Oh, you're from that?" And like they all started connecting dots, and so even the couple other people that I didn't get introduced at first started jumping in, like, "Yeah, well, I carry this," and then I was like, "Wow, see, we're all on the same page. This is a good, happy table."
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Robert says, I hunted for years with the Remington 870. It never failed.
Never failed.
Ever.
That's one of the reasons we like him, Robert.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if it's still true because Remington has changed hands a few times, but you used to be able to take an original 1956
Swap parts.
and auctions.com. Moving forward, using all my breath. Another bass. Making love to you was never second best.
I saw the world
Crashing all around your face. Never really knowing it was always Mish and Lace. Welcome back, everybody, to Gunslinger. Yeah, it's an 80s kind of thing.
It is.
Believe it or not, this is, we've played this a bunch of songs
track
before, but we get more comments about this section of
Particular
songs
list?
than we do any other one, and it kind of is my favorite. So I just said, screw it, let's just do that.
It's super solid. Come on,
because we were so busy. We've been getting guns in. I was telling it earlier. We've been getting so much stuff in for September auction now because June's full up and done.
Double for folks.
We got a double diamond set. Have you ever seen one of those?
Double
Oh,
diamond.
my.
Yeah, it's a nickel. They're both nickel plate. It's a Colt Officer's model and a Colt Python, and they're numbered to each other. It's like I think the serial number is like DD and then 1122, and the other one is like DD2211, something along those lines. Not the exact actual numbers.
Yeah.
And man, in the box with a letter. Yeah, really cool stuff.
And this is September.
These are coming up September.
So we have auctions June 7th and 8th, 600 plus guns each day. And now we're already filling up fast for the September auction.
We got in, I think, 50 yesterday. Yeah, it just stuff is coming from everywhere. And you keep bringing it because, we've been talking at the shop because I've been doing auctions. I've been open for 27 years, going on 28, and we've been doing auctions for 24 of those years, and I've never done a 2-dayer, and so we're kind of worried. It's like, wow, we know we're going to get a ton of people on Saturday because we always get, for the one day. How are we going to do on day 2? So we definitely need to get people to come for day 2, and man, both days got some killer stuff. We got in a World War II leather bomber jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's got 40 bombs on it.
40 mission guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the plane is still on the back. The jacket is in excellent condition. Of course, the cuffs are gone because
they always go.
Yeah, they always rot out. But the guy that brought it in, I believe it was his grandfather or great grandfather.
Well, great grandpa or grandpa was a hero.
I mean, 40 missions.
Come on.
Right? And it's an excellent condition, and man, this is going to be really neat to see. We just got so much cool stuff.
What we're going to
up.
have to do, especially for when this starts getting closer and closer, we're going to go through the catalog and really highlight some stuff and get everyone's mouth watering for both days. Because you know what? I know there's going to be a lot of stuff to go through in those catalogs. I know you can scroll through and see what you like or search it out. But if we really get your eyes on the prize and you hear something on this station and then you find it there. Come on, folks. How happy are you going to be? So let's go ahead and work it up.
Right. And again, the catalog will be up this week. We're just waiting on the Blakester to finish taking pictures. The descriptions are all done. And, there you go.
That's my dad in his A2.
There you go.
Hey,
there you go. So, the descriptions are done. We're just waiting for pictures to be finalized. Blake went back to school, so he's only working Fridays and Saturdays for me. So he's trying to do
as much.
Well, we do about 20 pictures per lot, and then we have 1,200 lots. It's kind of a lot of pictures.
Do the math on that.
Yeah. So he's coming in for me tomorrow, and he's going to be there all day tomorrow. I'm going to my mechanics tomorrow. First I'm going to see Louie, then I'm going to see Vinny, then I'm going to go see Dr. Vinny Boombas. You know my doctor. Anyway. And then I'm going to head down to Orange, and we're going to get some more stuff done.
Question is asked: what hotel can I stay at for the event? What a great idea! You ought to put something like that.
You know
on
what?
the
I will
site.
look into that.
Find
Yeah.
a couple of host hotels.
The place is in Anaheim, so believe it or not, the Disneyland Hotel is not far.
There's a lot of good choices there. but
Hotel. I know there's an Ayers Motel pretty close.
Ayers is kind of on our side of the political spectrum too.
Yeah, I believe we've used an Ayers to do auctions in the past. We're really close. They're showing it online right now. Highway 39 Event Center is right by Angel Stadium. Right here in our hue is right by Angel Stadium.
Right behind what previously was called the Honda Center. The Honda Center, it's directly behind there as well.
Yep, and there's some stuff from the inside. It is so cool. That is a row. They've got every Bel Air convertible from 1953, I think, to 1964 or something.
That is a golden era right there.
Oh,
what
man.
a lineup.
Yeah, and it's so cool to walk through there because you get to see so many cars that I have that aren't finished.
So the trip to the mechanic.
Yeah, I get to see what they look like if I ever get them done. Anyway, let's get to John in, of all places, Maryland.
Hey, John.
John,
welcome
how
back.
you been?
Good evening. How's everybody?
Good.
Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. And I had a question about a retention holster, but before I do that, I was listening to Lisa, who just called about the California non-resident, and I was listening to what you guys were saying. I said, you know what? I heard something recently, and sure enough, as of like the end of April, people can apply for a non-resident permit, but you may need to be a member of like CRPA or the Second Amendment Foundation. So I'm not a lawyer, but for sure, just Google California non-residents carry permit, and you can see that they're being. They'll accept the application.
I think Rick was speaking about that 2 weeks ago. That he had mentioned something about that they would have to go specifically through a training program through the CRPA, or another like one that there's like a small list of who they may go through. But again, that was still in a bit of the works of it all. I don't think everything was completely ironed out when he was mentioning it. But yes, I remember Rick was mentioning that previously.
Yeah, it's a court case CRPA versus LASD, which I guess is
LA Sheriff's
something,
Department.
the Sheriff's Department. So I think it's legit. And the other thing is you may need to be a member of, like I said, the Second Amendment Foundation, because it may be hinged on something like that as well, or some other partner organization. But it's a lot better than it was maybe a year ago. And I don't recommend California's carry permit for a non-resident. I'm just saying the information is out there that it looks like you may be able to apply. It doesn't mean you get it, but you could apply.
Hey, can't hurt. Let's flood it.
Flood it up. Yeah,
the collective wisdom of the world.
Get it done.
All right, so if I could quick on a holster question. You guys have any sources for civilian, preferably leather, but retention holsters for revolvers?
Retention holsters.
DeSantis is good. Mernickel is quite good.
Yeah.
And I prefer leather too, by the way. I know a lot of people like Kydex. Kydex is inexpensive and fairly good, but I find it scratches up both the firearm and my rib cage.
Well, there is that.
Mernickel makes good stuff. DeSantis makes good stuff. Who else? Texas.
Well, I believe Bianchi is still making.
Bianchi still makes high-end stuff.
And then Safari Land, I'm pretty sure, still makes good
I
leather.
figured that. I thought maybe it's like a custom shop where it's one of those guys but you don't know, and then that's the place to go.
Well, my longtime friend Billy Leathers is what I call him, but he makes custom stuff only, and he lives local, so you would have to go to him and get it.
What is this for, John?
Well, it's for a revolver. I'm just not sure which one. I'm going to get a new one, whether it be a 38 or a 357. But so I want to see what, if anything's available before I get the firearm. It's kind of a backwards thing, but see if the retention holster was available. And it's not. I'm not even sure I need it or want it, but I just want to take a look at.
Sure.
Does it make sense? Because in some cases, there's some situations it may make sense to have a retention holster.
Well,
as long as you can navigate it in a hurry.
And what's making it come back is those open front holsters. I've been seeing those all over. I mean, they were using these on Adam 12.
Right. What do you have for your Kimber?
for my Kimber, I'm using, because I usually use that when I'm walking or exercising. I've got a belly band with
that ain't bad.
Yeah, because I'm in sweats or shorts or whatever. So I keep that in a belly band, and I keep it right here on my hip, and it works out real good. Those are pretty nice because you can snug them up pretty good, and then the firearm doesn't leave much of a trace. Yeah. So
just a small point on what we were speaking about previously. Doug Kasai on our Facebook page, on our Facebook stream, put
hey Doug,
www.californiacarry.org non-resident CCW. So I guess you can search that out and you can actually look into that.
Oh, there you go.
So if anyone's curious.
All right.
Well, I appreciate the information. Thank you, guys. Have a good, safe week.
Thanks, John. We'll talk to you later.
Let us know what you get.
Yep. Take care.
Kirk also put Galco.
Yeah,
Galco's another good one.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Kirk.
There's plenty of them out there still making, and I agree with you. I do like leather. I'm so hard on them because I never don't have one on me. So
they do wear out, and that's something you got to be prepared
which is
for.
why I go to Kydex.
But you replace tires on your car when they wear out, and you do know a guy in the firearms business.
Well, yeah, but that's the point. The holster that I have now, it's like $18. A good leather is going to cost you at least $75, $80, $100.
Somewhere between 60 and 100.
Yeah,
typically.
so
and you have to replace them every couple of years or so.
And you really can't pass them down.
The normal guy, but then there's me.
And if you're going to be working out and stuff, you are going to sweat it, and that'll shorten the life of the product.
And that neoprene, wraparound thing works real well for me. Because like I said, I'm out there in a tank top and shorts and just walking and
longevity wise, that thing's going to be pretty durable throughout.
And nobody ever knows I got something on. So.
Which is how you want it. It's supposed to be concealed.
Yeah, I hear plimsolls. I guess we're going to the bottom of the hour, so we're going to get the news. We're going to be back right after this, and we're still taking phone calls. Jimmy, what's the number?
866-870-5752.
All right, you're listening to Gunslingers right here on
the Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
And we'll be back with a couple of Rickenbackers right after this. But you sure can't hear that Rickenbacker ringing.
A million miles away. Do. Somebody earlier on, I forget which of the feeds is, somebody said something about, boy, don't quit the day job. And I find it interesting that both you and I
didn't like the singing, did they?
No, we don't have the advantage of the reverb chamber and auto-tune.
Well, yeah.
I know this is a studio, but it's not quite like the studio.
It's a little bit different than the ones I'm used to working in. Somebody asked about, who asked about the High Point HP-15?
Mr. Enigma.
What about
Mr. E? It's a bargain AR-15.
I'm gonna. Well, I'm not a big fan. I'll just put it that way. I wouldn't own one. I don't care for them. I don't carry them. For some reason, and Jimmy, you'll remember this.
Boomerang gun.
Yeah. We got, just because during the crazy COVID time when you couldn't get anything, I got a couple of those in.
The HPs?
The
AR-15s?
No, the 9mm pistol.
Yeah, those.
And we sold it, and the guy got denied. We sold it, and the guy got denied. It happened like 4 times with one gun. And then the other one, after its second or third person being denied, it finally left. It was gone 2 weeks, and it came back. Didn't like it. He wanted something else.
I was telling people it's the boomerang gun. That thing always comes back.
And so I'm not a big fan, and I don't carry them for sale.
Well, it is a bargain basement firearm. I was talking specifically about the AR-15 that they make,
I have not seen one.
Which is, I have not handled one either. If it's made out of that same kind of greasy plastic, I don't know. I feel like I owe it to one of us to put hands on it, but I just don't know.
No,
but you know what?
It's gonna have to be you, because I ain't doing
it. Like you're saying, if it's made out of the same polymer that their pistols are made from, it's gonna be feeling very odd in hand. It almost feels like a toy.
It's a $500 gun, but for like $629, you can get a Smith & Wesson.
I was just going to say the M&P 15, yeah. And that's with sights and everything. So
yeah, it's what you're looking to invest. long term? Because again, High Point, you know what they are, a firearms company. Quality wise, perhaps you could invest that money better.
Quality was no object. You know, the funny thing about the High Points is they, as horrible and unbalanced and graceless and ugly, sorry guys, as they are, they do run. And somebody's doing a website where they like try to kill High Points, and it's pretty funny the abuse to which they put them. Now, this is not a 10,000 round gun, but you can get 1,000 rounds out of one of those things before it dissolves into a pile of zinc.
I just never thought someone would design a firearm after a VCR. That's what it reminds me of. It looks like, hey, what is that, a VCR?
Well,
I can make a gun out of that.
It is the same size.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's just the top.
So, it's
Bless them for making the Second Amendment available to people of all income strata.
I think the frame might be made out of melted VCR tape.
How do they have that plastic? It's just so nasty. Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to get one. Just curious. Building my own through Lone Star Firearms here in Texas. Well, get yourself a good.
Cool mystery, but you
get
did
yourself a
take
good
the
quality
interest.
lower, and with AR-15s, up to about $1,800, you get what you pay for, and after that, you're just kind of throwing money.
Welcome back, everybody, to Gunslingers right here on
the Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
I can't hear that song and not think of the show Dairy Girls, which is pretty hysterical.
I can't hear that song and not think of overalls.
Overalls,
blue overalls.
Yeah, and the little hat.
It's like Super Mario the song. What is going on here?
Welcome back to Gunslingers right here on
the Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
That's us, and apparently we're having problems with the phone. We keep getting calls, and then they keep disappearing. What's going on in there?
It's Mother's Day lines.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what, guys? If you got, just keep calling.
Yeah.
We'll get you sooner or later. I don't know what the hell's going on in there. Maybe we're not paying them enough. Oh, look at they're all popping up now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here they come.
All right, let's get to Ed in Riverside. There we go. Ed, how are you?
Evening, Ed.
I'm doing well, thanks. How about you?
Hanging in there. What's
Very
going
well,
on?
Sir.
Well, I had a question about the roster. Is it possible for new firearms to get on the roster here in the People's Republic, or is it not possible?
Well, it is again. It wasn't for a while. They just basically shut it down, and you couldn't put anything on there. And if they did, they put one, they had it rigged where if you put one gun on, they could take three off of their choosing.
Come on.
And they got rid of all of that because it was just the whole thing. It's a backdoor attempt at
snatch and grabbing.
Yeah, taking away firearms from people, and let's face it, it's extortion. I mean, Al Capone used to call it protection money. You want to sell your stuff here? Pay me.
Yeah.
But in California, it's called the California Gun Safety Roster.
Safety. Oh, let's put heavy quotes around safety.
Yeah, I was going to say, because police officers apparently can buy those same firearms.
Yeah, we're here, Ed.
And apparently they're perfectly safe if you're in law enforcement. And then they can turn around and resell them. And by having been touched by law enforcement, they're perfectly safe again.
Yeah.
Magic hands.
Yeah, well, the Smith & Wesson Model 29, the most powerful handgun in the world, is not, according to California, a safe firearm.
They've only been building that gun since what?
1957 or something. So, I mean, it's a total joke. And this was back in 2000 when we got Gray Davis and all his cronies, and the left just went hog wild with the assault weapons ban. Let me back up, the so-called assault weapons ban and the roster and many, many other idiotic ideas. Ed, you still there?
so-called assault weapon ban.
Ooh, now an echo.
I think he lost us on his phone, so he's trying to catch up on the radio.
What is going on with the phone, guys? It's just
He's there. He's just, I don't think his phone is operational now.
Okay. Well, you know what? Keep calling. Jimmy, what's the number?
866-870-5752.
All right, give us a call. Keep calling if it ain't working, because I keep seeing numbers. Oh, their number popped up again. And keep calling. We'll figure it out.
So I got a question online. It's Hendo, so I take it with a grain of salt, just in case. What is a, heavy quotes, combat magnum?
It's a Smith & Wesson K-frame.
Yeah.
With... They're stainless, I think, aren't all they?
Oh, so you already, I see you in the pictures.
It comes a couple of different ways. I'm pretty sure the combat is actually what they're talking about is the grips.
It is. I know it's the rubber grip ones. So instead of the Goncalo Alves or wood grips,
the real pretty wood grip.
Yeah,
so
the wraparound rubber grip.
Well. I don't know, Hondo. You tell us. Smith & Wessons are good sellers, but, they're not the $10,000 guns that I know a lot more about.
So Jake Reno answered back, anyone I'm carrying, laugh out loud. That's a combat magnum, baby.
That's pretty good.
That works
It
for
is
me.
K-frame is their medium frame.
Yeah.
Model 19, question mark?
Model 19 is a K-frame.
That's a real good gun.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, they came with a couple of different versions of grip, and I'm pretty sure the combat was the big, thick, heavy one, the wood grip. Could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not a Smith & Wesson everything guy. Yeah, but... these guys get to cheat. They got the
they have the round. I know it has the rounded grip, and I know it has the rubber grip. So it's more user friendly than the wood grip.
It would usually be either Hogue or Pachmeyer were the two companies that usually put grips on Smith & Wesson.
They're nice guns.
Yeah. So there you go. That's a half-ass answer if I ever heard one in my life.
If you like revolvers and there's still a place for them in the world, that's a real good gun.
Well, and for me, the K22.
Well, that's a real nice gun just for everything.
Oh, I absolutely love. I've got one with an 8 3/8 inch barrel.
Is that a tack driver?
It's two-track.
So
two tack drivers. Say that 3 times fast.
So I'm just pulled up some images. So the Model 66, the Model 69.
That's the party gun. Somebody had to say it.
68, and I owe you one. 66, yes. The Model 66 seems like a popular version. Looks like it comes in about the 2-inch. And the 69 looks about a 3-inch. But, yeah, they have the...
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah. Not putting my face near it.
I'll tell you what, a wheel gun with a 3-inch barrel is a real good all-around sort of a firearm.
Absolutely.
Agreed. That's what the Python came in a 3-inch, and good
Those
luck.
are a little bit short, rare.
A little bit expensive is what they are. I think. Oh, at one time I actually had the record for selling a box stock 3-inch Python. It was $12,750.
I remember you got a couple in. Is that the one about 3 years ago now?
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah.
But,
when Pythons have considerably cooled off. At one point, every Python was anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 across the board. Didn't matter what it was. They've calmed down considerable. I'm sure it's got something to do with Colt coming out with them again.
New reissue.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because when they were pretty sought after, and we would rarely get them. Anytime we got one in the stores, per se, we'd have like one or two, and then as soon as they hit the floor, they were gone.
Oh, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what? Ed's back. Let's get back. Ed, what happened there?
What happened?
I do not know. Suddenly, I just wasn't hearing you, and I switched the radio back on because when the call goes in, I switch off the radio, and then I said hello, and I heard a couple of hellos in the background when you were talking, and nothing was coming over my phone. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you got to love technology.
Mysteries of technology, man. But we got you back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I heard you talking about Smith & Wesson's Model 29, which is something that I like. I really like the 629, the stainless version.
Right.
But it's interesting that you said that state of California doesn't consider that a safe firearm, do they consider any firearm to be safe in the People's Republic?
Yeah. Well, how do you even answer that?
Again, don't look for logic.
Yeah. Well, so there you go.
Don't want you to have a gun.
Yeah, and I believe the 29-14 or whatever, the classic that they have reintroduced, the Smith & Wesson 29 blue gun. I think they do have one on the list now, but the standard first series, the 29-2 is one of the most popular in that whole run, and those are not considered California compliant, which is idiotic, but
California's silliness is thus.
Yeah.
If it's got a 4-inch barrel, it's safe. If it's got a 6-inch barrel, whichever one they got on the roster is cool. The other ones aren't.
It's only safe if you paid them for it.
So the Model 29 Classic California legal version is a 4-inch, and it's
yeah. So
now, I haven't seen a Turner's catalog recently, but the last one I have, which was Holiday 2024, had the classic Model 29, the Dirty Harry version,
8-inch?
in a wood box, and they had the 629 also, both available, and they were both 6.5-inch barrels.
Yeah, they have the 6.5 as well. The first one that just popped up on my list right here was that one, but they do have the 6.5.
4-inch in that. So.
Yeah, but I guess
it's a handful.
Yeah, so I guess it is available in California still, though.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Shoot 44 special in it for practice.
No more problems with the phone, and to all the mothers out there, a happy and blessed Mother's Day.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks,
so
Ed.
much.
We'll talk to you later.
Always great.
All right.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye. Okay, you know what, guys? We're almost into our last segment. We got
It's time
lines
for 30 or
open.
40 people to call.
Well, I keep seeing, like I said, numbers keep popping up and then they keep disappearing. I don't know what is going on. Yeah, guys in the booth are like, I don't know what's going on either.
Just keep trying.
Am I going to have to get Rocco and Moose in here to fix this?
They're gonna
hey Moose, Rocco, help the judge find his wallet, will you?
Shake the phones. So you guys don't want to call it. Keep trying, or if you can't get through, put it online on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, or X. We're jumping all over the comments and the questions on there. But call in because we'd love to hear your voice. 866-870-5752.
Give us a call. Like I said, we're already in we're coming into our last segment.
Man, this went fast.
Yeah.
Fastest 2 hours in radio.
Really quick, let's get to Robert in L.A. if I can. There we go. Robert, what can we do for you?
What?
Yep, we're here.
Hey, you're on.
Oh, shit. Let me turn.
Robert in L.A.
Robert, you got dropped because you dropped an S-bomb.
Yeah, drop. Oh, my goodness.
Try it again with a different name and a few less swear words.
Called back in as Bobbert.
Bobbert from Ballet. Yeah, so
it's a Sunday. What can you say?
It's a long Sunday. But yeah, fastest 2 hours on radio. We're coming on our last segment. Make sure you get your calls in right now. 866-870-5752. Come on.
Where's Brett tonight?
I heard him on the doctor's show, so maybe he's saving it up, closing the show strong.
I got you. All right. Oh, I hear music.
A good song.
It is a good song. I'm not a big fan of the guy, but it's a good song. Yeah. All right, you're listening to Gunslinger right here on
the Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
And we're going to be right back.
Come on.
With your daddy home as I go and leave you all alone.
Melissa put, hey, Jeff, when you do the Motor Slinger show with Leon and George, maybe play Jet Plane by the Mamas and the Papas.
Jet Plane?
Yeah.
As in leaving on a jet plane?
Pretty sure.
I thought that was Peter, Paul, and Mary. I know who wrote it. Bob Denver. Yeah, Gilligan wrote it.
Gilligan. Hey, Skipper.
Okay, Robert from LA is back. And I'm telling you, like, we get 5 or 6, boom, 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 and then they just disappear.
God bless you, Robert. Don't call us with the... I hope that's not the mouth that you kiss your mama with today.
Yeah. Yeah, no dropping S-bombs.
What are good airplane-themed songs? There need to be some.
She's real fine, my 409. She's real fine, my 409, my 409. Well, I saved my pennies and I saved my dimes. Giddy up, 409. Before I knew there would be a time. Giddy up, 409. When I would buy a brand new 409.
Welcome back, everybody, to Gunslingers right here on
the Gunslinger Syndicated Radio Network.
Such a good song.
Ah, it's so fun. Come on.
A heck of a motor. All right, let's try him again. Robert, now we got to keep it clean. What can we do for you?
Hey, you know what? I was sitting there, I talked to your guy, and then all of a sudden it came on my iPad, and I used the wrong word, and it nailed me.
Yeah,
So,
it's a station policy. It's okay. We're on a delay, so it didn't get out except for on the internet. But unfortunately, what'll happen is if you.
Word, but okay.
Yeah. Anyway, what can we do for you?
Though? Hey, Jeff, I was asking. Hey, you should put up a thing about where to stay at your hotel because you have a 2-day window. Auction. Got to figure out where I'm going to stay. Also, you went to a shooting event. You should send emails or something. I would go. I would have gone.
You know what?
Okay.
What a great idea.
And also, what Kimber do you carry?
The Kimber KS6, the 2-inch hammerless, is the one I'm carrying. Yeah.
Okay. And then I just got back from my buddy in Texas. He was going through his dad's stuff, and he came across a thing. It's called a flawless pen gun.
Single shot.
Federal Laboratories.
Oh,
There's a tear gas. 1925, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
it's that little spy thingy, and no, it looked like a pen, and we were in his garage, and we're going through stuff. And I'm like, oh, I thought it was like a pen that you would have chalk in it to mark the welder. I'm like, oh, there's a 38 shell in here. What is this thing?
Yep. A lot of those were, what I hear, were for just in case you got caught. That was the one for you.
Well, turn of the century, they had cane guns, and I've seen
I saw crutches.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, BTF considers as any other gun, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know what to tell you what to do with that.
Well, you don't want to. First off, you don't want to shoot it. Second off, you probably want to get rid of it because it's highly unlikely it's going to be legal. You can't have a concealable firearm inside of something.
It has an F in front of that. It's a felony.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Gosh, I wonder if they mean it.
Pretty sure they do. So I would get rid of that, or
dispose of it appropriately.
Yeah, cut it in half, throw it away.
What do you mean donate? I mean, I told him, from what I know, it's my own dad's collection. I've come up with stuff that's other whatever, and I just, I've contacted NRA. I'm like, I'll donate it because I don't need this problem in my life.
Right.
That's an idea.
Yeah, just find a way to remove it from your possession any way possible.
But I don't think you should smash it with a sledgehammer. Give it to a museum.
Yeah. Well, if you can find one that'll take it, sure.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Is that possible, or just smash with a hammer?
Make some calls. I'm not a museum curator, so I couldn't really tell you. But you might.
There are a bunch,
you never know.
NRA Museum, Cody. Places.
Yeah, they may.
Autry right here in L.A.
The Autry.
Yeah,
it's an interesting artifact. Illegal as hell.
No, I sat there and it had a 38 shell in it. I'm like, oh no. And then looking at the barrel, I'm like, no, that's not. That would blow up in your hand.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to shoot it. Yeah.
You're looking at something that's 5 inches that's made out of whatever kind of metal. You're not going to shoot that out of that.
No.
And and he's just like, well, I don't. He's not a gun guy and stuff. So he was just like, I don't do it. I'm like, well, let me call the guys.
Okay.
I'm calling you guys about that.
Well, so call around, see if you can find somebody that you can donate it to. Otherwise, I would get rid of it because it's
much
not
liability.
Something, yeah, it's not something you don't want to lose all your gun rights over.
No, it's
something like that.
100% liability,
Yeah.
and so it was just something where you guys, hey, happy Mother's Day to everyone who's listening and everyone who's calling in. That you guys are awesome.
Thanks.
Sorry about that. I used the S word.
Taken by surprise.
Things happen.
Yep.
This is the second time this has happened. They got to lighten up on this. Come on, yeah, Jimmy, come on. Come on, Jimmy. And Mark, come on. They got to lighten up on this.
Alternatively, we could modify our language at least on the public airways, Robert.
Robert, we got one more call we got to get to.
You know what? You guys are awesome. I'm looking forward to your June auction.
Wonderful.
Me too.
Hope
The
to see
last
you
auction
there.
I was there. I bought six.
Excellent. All right.
You're going to be very popular, and if you find a hotel you really like, let us know.
Yeah, and we'll
Let
go
us
ahead and
know.
try to get it out there
Recommend
as well.
places.
Thanks so
No,
much.
and then you were at this shooting thing. I would totally go. I mean, I'm not like you guys, not world champions and all this stuff. I would totally go and check that out.
We love building the community, of course.
That'd be fun.
Robert, we got to go. We'll talk to you next time, okay?
Thank you, brother.
God bless you guys, and I love what you guys do.
Thank you, sir.
And
Thank you,
all
Robert.
three of you are just pillars of the community.
Thank you, sir.
so much, Robert.
Holy cow, if we're pillars, we're in trouble. All right, here he is, Brent from L.A. How are you, Brent?
Shalom and MAGA Mother's Day, you mammy-loving gunslingers.
Shalom, Brent. Great
What
to hear
is
from you.
going on, Brent?
Well, we should all want to walk a million miles for one of their smiles, our mammies.
Oh, yeah.
And to protect California's moms and Lisa from Arizona, we should buy them all shotguns so they can shoot Gavin's MS-13 sanctuary scum.
There you go.
And the next time Leon Kaplan is on the air, I want to talk to him about the leftist Marxist rabid anti-Semite Ralph Nader, who canceled the fun and wonderful Chevy Corvair after he invented his stupid slogan, unsafe at any speed.
Right.
Because I was thinking, if they're unsafe, it's only because teenagers bought them in huge numbers and drove them like they were race cars.
Yeah. Chevy's answer to the VW Bug. Yeah.
Yeah, they were inexpensive. They were, great on gas, and they were performed beautifully. And I think he's now on an FM radio station, a leftist radio station that I often called in on. He won't take calls, but other people do. And it's just this unending attack on cars and gas and guns and everything, especially Jews. He hates Jews.
That's interesting. And he's on air. Huh?
Wow, he can stay on
there. I would tell you the station, but I don't know if you want that on the air.
No point in advertising
that type will take all comers, no matter how much. Well, I guess more they hate them, the more they like them. I think.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Brent. As always, thanks for the call, and we'll talk to you soon.
God bless you, Brent.
Okay, see ya.
Take care now.
Real fast, because we
Get
love
him
our
in.
audience so much. Downrange wanted to make sure that he's one of the commenters on YouTube. Wanted to make sure that we give a shout out to his mom, Barbara. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day,
Mother's
Barbara.
Day, Barbara.
God bless you. It's great. Thank you for watching. He says that
that's our Sunday night thing.
Yeah, they like watching on Sunday nights. Watching us, so I love it. Thank you guys so much, and happy Mother's Day again.
Oh, very good. And it's a shame you can't watch us on whatever the hell that. What was that?
Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram. We're just too controversial for them.
They're being a real Instagram.
Telling
right
people
now.
to safely dispose of firearms that are illegal and
Yeah, well, because we're pumping up machine gunnery use.
What? We're a threat to education because we're educating. So wait, no. Again?
Well, okay. So let me throw in some plugs. Don't forget, all you got to do is go to gunslingerauctions.com. It's gunslingerauctions.com, and this week you can go to the thing that says bid now. No, you don't have to bid if you click on it. Just click on it. It'll take you to it's online right now. You can go there and take a look at the catalog once we get it up. I'm going to try and get it up by Wednesday. Okay, so we're working real hard. We're just about done with it. 2 days has been interesting. And then getting our DOJ audit right in the middle of everything.
It's 2 days out of your life.
Yeah, it's been.
But you passed it with flying colors.
We did, and so we're back up and running and getting everything done. And then, of course, between that and getting more stuff in for September, it gets a little daunting. Let's just put it that way. So,
to say the least.
Yeah, so we're just about ready. We should have that up. Like I said, I'm hoping to push them a little bit and get it done tomorrow. But if not, it should be done by Wednesday. We got a new guy in. We hired a guy named Jackson from Missouri.
Jackson from Missouri.
Thought he'd be from Florida, but
we got to talk Florida one of these days. You know, last week alone, an alligator attacked a couple that was canoeing, ate the woman, and chewed up on the guy. Alligators. So let's move to Florida. A black bear killed a guy and his dog like yesterday in Florida. So you got hurricanes, you got tornadoes, you got humidity, giant cockroaches, bears, alligators, and if you go in the water, sharks.
Barrigators.
Yeah, but we get an earthquake once in a while.
Right? Which one do you want to deal with? Okay, I just had to throw that in.
Then again, we've got Democrats.
Yeah.
The most dangerous of them all.
Yeah.
Worse than the barrigator.
They have
Worse
killed
than
more
the
people
locusts.
than bears.
Worse, yeah. They are the fifth plague.
Hey, real quick, a question that came in online from Concerned. He wanted to know, I bought a factory engraved Smith.
Nice.
Should I shoot it once?
Yes.
The answer is, do you want it to be collectible and perfect, or did you buy the gun
to look at it?
To use?
Well, yes, go shoot it, but then give it a really good clean.
Yes,
and then put it away. I don't believe in guns that haven't been shot. I don't have one.
Cars that never been driven.
Yeah, I have a factory engraved Colt Match Target 22, absolutely gorgeous.
How's it shoot?
Like a champ, and it was in the original box, untouched, unfired, and it shoots great.
I want to give a shout out to the three mothers in my life. Ginger, you're a great mom. My daughter Kaylee, you're a great mom, and Melanie, my daughter-in-law.
Go and do yours
to the mom. My mom. But yeah, this has been a weird one. But yes, the mother of my Jimmy and Jet.
Yeah, and my wife Kathy, who raised our four boys, and so thanks to all of you guys. You're listening to the Gunslingers, and we're going home.
Yes, we are.
Oh, don't forget to smile. It's just a little curve. Sets a lot of things straight.
God bless you all. Thank you,
Leon.
so
Thanks
much.
for calling, and we'll see you. Come, let's go have lunch.
Love you guys.
This program was sponsored by the Gunslinger Shops.
AM 870. The Answer. Mistrust, division. It's not what we're moving towards.
Folks, we're here today in